Hello, Robs. We're back with new book arrivals, number 215. It's probably a little excessive here, but I didn't need these books, but I said, fuck it. I'm going out to get some more books. Why not? As I said, they're an investment, if nothing else. And there's an obvious 25-cent classic, A Christmas Carol by Children's Dickens. I was reading this up here in the children's classic. Charles Dickens. I like the cover. Wispy, to say the least. Obviously, you know what Dickens is. Salman Rushdie's Haroun and the Sea of Stories. Another 25-cent book. A book I would probably... I would have bought it for 50 cents, but for 25 cents, you can't go wrong. Set in an exotic eastern landscape, peopled by magicians and talking animals, Haroun and the Sea of Stories is the tale of a 12-year-old boy and his adventure to restore his father's gift of storytelling by reviving the poisoned Sea of Stories. In this wondrous delight for readers of all ages, Salman Rushdie gives an imaginative work of extraordinary power and endearing humor that is, at its heart, an illumination of the necessity of storytelling in our lives. The Devon Maze, Devon, Jean DeWitt Fitz. I mean, you can, Bride of Loneliness. In the 7 months since our wedding day, Ron and I have been little more than strangers. At dinner, we talk politely to please his mother, who cannot speak, and Lige, our servant. We discuss the business of the estate and appear at society gatherings. But no one knows that I hate and that he despises me. No one knows how I long for my freedom from this prison of loneliness. And fear that Ron has never once, since our marriage, visited my bed. Well, that's pretty cruel, Ron. Even as a girl, Anne had imagined herself the mistress of Devon House. The Vaughan House, the beautiful mansion next door, where one of the last great Southern families lived. Shakespeare on Toast, a master class for modern beginners and old hands alike. I think it's just an introduction to Shakespeare. Who's afraid of William Shakespeare? Just about everyone. He wrote too much, and what he did write is inaccessible and elitist. Right? Wrong? Ben Crystal, the Jamie Oliver of Shakespeare's BBC Radio 5, sweeps the cobwebs from the bard and finds Shakespeare's own voice amid the poetry, revealing both the man and his work to be relevant, accessible, and full of beans. Of course, Shakespeare probably wasn't even a real person. Table tennis, William Gottlieb. Either you know why I got this or you don't. That's all I will say on that matter. Like the kitsch cover. Pox, Americana. The great smallpox epidemic of 1775 to 1782 by Elizabeth A. Fenn. I want to see what's in there. What's this? Should I look at this? What is this? Cedar Point. What the fuck? Junior, senior stub. Here is this. Anyway, this is obviously about the smallpox epidemic in America. A horrifying epidemic of smallpox was sweeping across North America when the War of Independence began. Curio Cabinet by John Brodowski. Read somewhere that this has something to do with the Nightmare on Elm Street or Jason, Halloween, or some shit like that. Has no words. Well, very few words. It was listed for ridiculous prices on eBay, but nobody seems to have purchased it. What the hell was this person doing? There's Jason, Lord of Darkness. I don't know what this is about, but I got it. A hero ain't nothing but a sandwich. And when I picked it up at the store where I bought it for $0.25, this stamp fell out. Cool enough stamp with the camera on it, looks like. Who knows? Maybe it's worth $10 million. What's this about? Brilliant. This is a family whose members suffer in turn for dope has changed 13-year-old Benji into an enemy in their midst. National in scope and extremely apt, there is a suggestion of hope in this book, but there is also the unconcealed truth. World's End by Upton Sinclair. Vivid, authentic, explosive, unforgettable. The novel that lays bare the beginnings of World War I. At an age when other American boys were struggling toward manhood, Lanny Budd, with European maturity, was his beautiful mother's advisor in her impulsive love affairs. He was also the confidant of his American munitions-making father, who exposed him to all the inner workings of a world hurtling toward the First World War. Balzac, Honoré de Balzac, A Murky Business. Translated by Herbert J. Hunt. Rulers must never be hedged round by the principles governing private morality, wrote Balzac, and the political intrigue which occupies much of A Murky Business is characterized by amoral ruthlessness. Set earlier than most of Balzac's human comedy, the novel covers the years 1803 to 1806, when Napoleon was making himself first consul and then emperor. The inclusion of Napoleon himself, as well as figures like Talleyrand and Fouché, makes this a historical novel, but it is also an early example of the detective story in which the sinister, implacable police agent Corentin stalks his way towards vengeance on his aristocratic enemies. Never heard of this one. When the Cheering Stopped, which is The Last Years of Woodrow Wilson by Gene Smith. There's another book about a football player who molested a kid or some shit like that I have, that it's named this same thing, I believe. And that's what I thought it was when I picked it up, but once I saw it was about Wilson, I grabbed it. Nothing particularly interesting about Wilson other than he sold away basically all of America's sovereignty. And then FDR put a fucking stake in the heart of America. Napoleon III and the Second Empire by J.P.T. Barry. I don't really know anything about Napoleon, let alone his nephew, but I got the book. It was $2. If it weren't in such good condition, I probably would not have paid the $2. But listen, it's a thrift store. This one in particular employs mentally handicapped adults, and I kind of go to these stores a lot. And it's good that these people are out working. It helps their mental stability. How can I find you, Marjorie Holmes? How can I find you, God, Marjorie Holmes? I mostly got this for the Mylar jacket, but it's good condition hardcover, and it also had this inside it. Acme toy. I don't know what it is. I will Google Lens it. Honestly, it looks like a crayon wrapper, but that's what it seems like to me. Crayon wrapper. Run by Looney Tunes? Thought maybe it was a candy wrapper, but can't seem to get it open. Whatever it is. I don't want to wreck it. But whatever it is, it's in this book. The book, I don't know if it's worth any money. You see these books all around, the Marjorie Holmes books. I never really looked them up. I think I have, and not many of them are worth money. But I got it anyways, bro. How to interpret dreams and visions, understanding God's warnings and guidance. This comes from a different bent than the standard esoteric dream interpretation. This comes from biblical dreams interpretation, which is somewhat novel, I think. I don't know. Don't care. Driving to Detroit, an automotive odyssey by Leslie Hazelton. I should have lib-bibbed this one because I may actually have it, but it was only 50 cents, so doesn't matter if I have it or not. I have it again if I did have it. What's this say? Used like new. I don't know about that. Obviously, that wasn't the thrift stores. British born. She has lived in Seattle. Her weekly Detroit Free Press column on cars and driving is known for its provocative views and stylish humor. Never heard of her. So she writes for the Detroit News, but lives in Seattle. That's curious. I don't really care because I collect Detroit books for obvious reasons that I live in this state. Grasping things, folk, material, culture, and mass society in America. Simon J. Bronner. Miami University Bookstore. That will be discarded. In Pennsylvania, the Back to the City housing movement causes a conflict of cultures. In Indiana, an old tradition of butchering turtles for church picnics evokes both pride and loathing among residents. In New York, exhibits of folk art raise choruses of adoration and protest. America stocks its shelves with mass-produced goods, but fills its imagination with handmade folk objects. These are the dynamic situations often left out in studies of American culture. They are some of the examples used by Simon Bronner to illuminate the ways Americans grasp things physically and mentally. I think this is from the University of Kentucky. asparagus. So, interesting folk study. Interesting to me, anyway. Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God, and other writings by Jonathan Edwards. It says $3, but it was half off today because green was on sale. So I got it for $1.50, which is more than I usually pay for a book, but you don't see much Jonathan Edwards out there, and there's reasons for it because people can't handle it. He was a relative of Robinson Jeffers, and he was not fucking around. God doesn't need you. You need God. That's how all religious people should be. They shouldn't be like, brother, I forgive you. They should say, God's going to smite you, you mother. But most people are cowards, so. Call Me Athena, girl from Detroit. Exquisite. Ruth Sepetys. A novel in verse. Colby Cedar Smith. Interesting concept. Probably poorly executed. But obviously I picked it up because it's written about a girl who was supposedly growing up in 1930s Detroit. Book smells great. Yeah, this is one of those books that they perfume and they claim they don't perfume. It's just the ink. The way the ink, bullshit. No ink smells this good. It smells great. Sister Marie Therese joins us for lunch. I ask my mother to serve her favorite meal. Roasted lamb with new potatoes and asparagus. My aunt is the Mother Superior at the Abbaye Notre Dame de Saint-Malo. She manages Les Filles de Sagesse, the Sisters of the Convent, and the hospital where they work with wounded soldiers arriving from the front. I wait through the entire meal. I try to breathe slowly. How long does this go? I even let her take 2 bites of her flaky, buttery Quin Amon before I ask if it would be possible to volunteer at the hospital. 2 days a week after school, she takes her napkin and delicately pats the corners of her mouth. I hold my breath. You're 16 now. I don't see why not. I look at my mother. She smiles and pats my trembling hand. Not bad. Not good. Smells great, though. Fucking smells exquisite. This book I'd actually missed, but I always go back and double check, especially when the bookshelves are... There's only 4 bookshelves at this one Salvation Army I go to. So I always backtrack because I miss stuff. You can't see it, but this puts a... I guess you can see it. I like it. The mylar jacket of this rather chipped and fading away dust jacket. Franklin's Yesteryear, the Ward Eagle. To Ward Eagle with sincere appreciation, Bert D. Wood. I believe Franklin Township, or the village of Franklin, somewhere north of, it's obviously northwest of Detroit. I think it's just north of Farmington, Michigan. Maybe Southfield, Michigan. Somewhere in that place. But it's local to me, so there may be something that I need at some point in research. And it's signed. I've never heard of this book. I'll go with my Detroit collection. And it came with the mylar jacket, which I love. I love it. didn't need another one of these, but I got it anyways. My third one. Should stop purchasing these, but I have not. A lot of the reason I do that is because of the aforementioned reason that at the thrift store they want you to round up, so I figure I might as well get a book out of the deal instead of giving the entire $1, which I would have if I only bought whatever it was, 7 books instead of 6. 7 books would have been, or 6 books would have been $3.18, so 82 cents given. So chop off 54 or whatever. I gotta sneeze. So I essentially get a free book out of the deal without, and I really hate that they ask me to upgrade or what's it called, round up. It just pisses me off, but I do it because why not? And I don't know how the hell Evansville Public Library did this to the book. I mean, is it a stamp? How did they get that on there? Unless they published the book themselves, which I highly doubt. How the fuck did they do that? What's that say? Manchester, Indiana. North Manchester, Indiana. Evansville Public Library. I looked this book up. I couldn't find it anywhere. I'm not saying it's worth a lot, but 1941. Isabella, Young Queen of Spain by Mildred Chris. Illustrated by Mark Simone. Simone. Don't know if this is a novel or a true, or a memoir, not memoir, but a biography. Really like that perforated mark they put on this book. It's great. Anyway, I got it. There's 95 cents. Isabella. I don't know who McGuckin is. McGucklin? Say McGucklin? McGuckin. I don't remember seeing McGuckin on the book. Maybe it was... No, I don't see it anywhere. I don't even know what that means. Children of Anguish and Anarchy. And as soon as I saw this book with the painted sides, I knew it was one of those newer books. I don't know what they're called. But for 50 cents, I picked it up and I will sell it. I have no interest in this kind of euthanasia in ink. Book is pretty though. What's that say? My gods. Blood pounds between my ears. I don't know what to think, what to feel. A part of me wants to wrap a chain around Einan's neck. Another part of me can't believe that he's here. The last time I saw Einan, we were in the palace cellars. The Ayaka raised the royal throne to the ground. As the palace fell, I chased Einan down. He was my final target. I went in for the kill. You're alive. The familiar scratch of his voice is like a chain pulling me back in time. In an instant, I'm thrown back into our fight. Mind rot. Absolute mind rot. Book smells good, though. Now, this book, for some reason, it's got to be the heaviest motherfucking book I've ever picked up. I don't know how much this weighs, but I'm going to guess 3 or 4 pounds. Just a heavy book. Most hardcovers are heavy, but not like this. This is like a brick. I've seen this book at several places and I didn't get it before. But this is the first edition. So I got it. It's not worth much. But I got it. I don't know why. Hilary Mantel is supposed to be a great writer. This is some kind of historical novel about something. I don't know what it is. I don't really care. It's just going on the shelf. Can't really sell it, but again, with the Roundup feature, I got a free book instead of donating an extra 54 cents or 52 cents, since it would be 53 cents, since it would be 3 cents tax, since it's 50 cents as opposed to $1 with 6 cents sales tax. So yeah, there's that. I will give the 5 cents or 10 cents, but I will not give 80 cents until they start giving me the option to round down. Then I will accept that. But I doubt they will. Anyway, I need to finish moving all these papers so I can start building a little bookshelf into this section, or transfer one in there. Maybe I can put my John F. Kennedy collection in here. That might be a smart idea. No, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should. It's not that big anyway. Where am I going to put the newspapers if I do? Anyway, that's all. Goodbye.